Let's fight! A very good evening to each and every one of you, wherever you are joining us from this evening, wherever in the world you're picking us up from. Let's fight pace and power in 2022. And we're so glad to have you. Pace and power. Some of y'all joining us on Twitter. Some of y'all joining us on YouTube. Some of y'all on Facebook. Some of you guys on LinkedIn. Welcome in the ring. Good to see each and every one of you. I'm falling in love with our bell here, guys. Falling in love with the bell, folks. Let's fight wherever you guys are joining us from. You're going to want to stay to the end of the show tonight. You're going to want to share the live stream. You're going to want to smash the emoji button. Folks, we got to Parliament. We've reached the top. We have met to Parliament, and we're so happy about it. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to you guys. Good to see each and every one of you, wherever you are joining us from. Do I see Denise London, Welshman? Do I see Onika Glenn and Wilton Blue? We see you. Chisung Henry and Night Bell. Sichuran. All the Sichurans are here this evening. Pamela Santurine. Good to see you. Prince Hodaya. Good to see you as well. Owen, and Arvel Blackett. Folks, how are you doing? Wherever you're picking us up from, share the live stream. We are privileged to have each and every one of you. Where our Twitter folks at? Where our Twitter folks at? So Cathy and Roysdale were schooling them in the National Assembly today. Were schooling the government. The installed regime got a schooling. It was teach and beat and teach, as we say. Beat and teach. Good to see each and every one of you was beat and teach in the National Assembly today, folks. And we're going to be sharing some of that with you. And also we have Roysdale Forde, Senior Counsel, joining us, along with Cathy Hughes, a communications specialist. Both of them are members of Parliament. And folks, we are very pleased to have these guys on our team in the National Assembly. Did a tremendous job today. And Beverly, Dennis Williams, good to see each and every one of you. And do you know that also our colleague Annette Ferguson has been immortalized in song, folks? You see, when you're big, you're big. When we come into these things, we are coming to these things, folks. Diane Fordyce, Glennis Mingo Burns, Suzanne, Patricia Kisu, and Jamal Jordan. A very good evening to each and every one of you. Respect and manners. Norma Jones, Don Raymond, Andrew Cuthbert. Respect and manners. Pace and power in 2022. And Cathy and Roysdale demonstrated that in the National Assembly today. Pace and power. Roysdale is already here in the studio. Just let me let you know that. He is already here in the studio, and this pace and power. No time to waste, guys. Don't waste time. I don't know about you, but I am fired up. I am ready to go, ready to head into the fight guard, ready to show you some of the events that made the news around the world today, and especially where you guys are. Good to see each and every one of you. At our end, we're 1,300 and counting. Good to see you. That's why we got to share the live stream. We got to smash that emoji. But we want to know how you guys are feeling out there. We want to know how you guys are feeling. All are welcome in the ring. The PPP are welcome. The APNU AFC are welcome. The Alliance for Change, they are welcome. Also, each and every one, the No Party people are welcome as well. And I'm so happy we have Roysdale in the ring. I even have my wife just messaged me to say she's reading us loud and clear. She's a technician too. My lovely wife is a technician as well. She said she's reading us loud and clear. Good to have each and every one of you folks. You're going to want to sit back tonight. You're going to want to buckle in. You're going to want to strap in. Folks, 1,600 and counting. You're going to want to strap in. You're going to want to get your water, but we're minding other people's business tonight. We're minding other people's business. But get your water. Get your popcorn and your Cokes, folks. Get your popcorn and your Cokes, folks. It's going to be a wild ride tonight. Good to see you, Richard Fordyce, Rockcliffe Paris. Good to see you, Margaret King and Stacey Ann Stoll. Dennis King as well, the whole King family here. Your Highnesses, Patricia Kisoon, Margaret Craig. Good to see each and every one of you, 1,800 and counting. Holding steady, Faye Ferdinand, Stephen Monroe, Molly Ann Mullin, Margaret Craig. Folks, lots of information to share with you. And you ain't gonna want to miss a minute of this before we have our guests on. As I said, coming up, the one and only Roysdale Forde. Coming up, the one and only Cathy Hughes. Good to have them both with us. Roysdale already here. Roysdale got the water, he got the coffee, he got the cokes, he got the popcorn, he got everything. He's ringside already. Guys, I don't know about you. We're just to that point where we're going to make a start. Shonell Smith Daniel says, let's start. Good to see you, Shonell. If Shonell says, let's start, I want to start. Respect and manners. I've gotten my marching order, folks. Shonell Smith Daniel says, start the damn show. Here we go, folks. Here we go. Here's what's happening on the fight card, folks. Welcome in the ring wherever you're joining us from around the world. Welcome, 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 welcome. I love this bell. I just love it. Love it. Around the world, folks, here is what is happening. Here's what we're picking up. Boris Johnson is in trouble. The Boris Johnson government, ladies and gentlemen, is in trouble. He is in trouble. Will he survive? Will Boris Johnson survive tonight? It remains to be seen, but he is in deep, deep trouble. Several high-ranking members of Boris Johnson's administration has resigned, and according to some news we're picking up from Guardian UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson's chief of staff resigned, his private secretary resigned, the communications chief resigned, head of policy, all have resigned just in the last 24 hours. As this report tells us, an exodus of senior officials that have deepened the crisis engulfing Johnson as he fights to hold on to power. As you know, he's been facing lots of criticism with this scandal of members of his staff partying during COVID and disrespecting the COVID regulations and policy at that end. Folks, this is how civilized countries operate, you know. Civilized country, when you have your rules and you break your own rules, you have to go. So Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, facing severe criticisms, and few persons expect that he's going to hold on to power much longer. As I've said, there's several senior members of his government all resigned in the last 24 hours. Can Boris Johnson survive? It's not like in these parts, you know, where people do wrong and they get promoted. It is not like they're no, folks. It happens differently in those developed countries. You see, we talk the talk, but we don't always want to walk the walk. Look how many times we saw this very same government breach COVID-19 protocols. Very recently, we showed you guys the director of sports having big events by his home, hosting big events. No respect for COVID-19 policy. And what happens? Absolutely nothing. The people different there. They are very different there. But that's what's happening on that front. Closer to home, folks, we big, but we ain't stupid. I want y'all know that. We big, folks, but we ain't stupid. Cathy got your age. We big. Roysdale too. They look young. We big, but we ain't stupid. Look what happened just today. We're picking up this information coming out of Region 6, Region 5, Region 6. So the folks lower the toll on the Berbice Bridge, but not for everybody. It's for them big boys. Y'all want to bamba? You want to chill with the big boys? It's not for y'all. It's not for the little ones. It's for the big boys. So the bridge toll there has been reduced to sand trucks. The bridge toll has been reduced for sand trucks, not minibus, not high cars, for sand trucks. You know why? Somebody friend coming in for killing here. Somebody friend got to move a lot of sand, and so they went to the powers that be, and they said, look, I help y'all get y'all elected, I give y'all plenty money. Do us this favor. And so the toll for the Berbice Bridge has been lowered. Y'all see how things happen in this country? Not for minibuses, not for higher cars, not so it can pass on to the poor people. No. It's the business people. It's the ones at the top. Y'all see what happened? We told y'all this budget here is for the ones at the top. Berbice Bridge toll lower for sand trucks. How are you going to benefit from that? How is the big ones? It's the big ones. So y'all want to bamba? Y'all want to roll with the big boys? You better buy some sand trucks. Better buy some sand trucks. This what else is happening, folks, on the fight card. Pace and power. Things tight. We told you all that in this economy, guys. Things tight. Who's sharing the live stream? 2,900 and counting, folks. Things tight. Look what's happening here. Look what is happening. Astronomies, folks. Things tight. Look what's happening. Astronomies in our jurisdiction. Busted with a fake Guyanese passport. Applying for a U.S. visa. Things tight, folks. Things tight. Fake Guyanese passport. When the passport selling, I want to know. I got to get bold like some people and $500,000 for information. I want to know who's selling the passport. This is the thing I want to go after. Who's selling the passports? Who letting the passports pass? Who's selling passports? So that means busting recently, folks, with a fake Guyanese passport. You better check your passport and see if it's authentic. Well, if you got an authentic passport, you know where you get it from. I would like to know. I would like to know who's selling the fake passports in the government. Huh? Who buy passport after selling the passports fake? Come on, folks. Somebody got to start belching. We want to know who's selling the fake passports. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Look what else is happening on the fight card. Oh, Father. You know what is that? You know what is that? This is a refrain from Cathy Hughes, who's going to join us in just a little bit along with Senior Counsel Roysdale Forde. You know what is sad? Folks, look what is sad in this country. Look what is sad. Relatives are asking for their family member, a dialysis patient who is blind, to be let out of the COVID-19 center. They said their mother has been there for over 24 hours. She hasn't eaten anything. They called her. The woman is crying. She said she hasn't eaten anything. And what is more, she alleged that she was hit by a nurse. Beaten by a nurse. That is the allegation there. Folks, y'all know what is sad? This is sad. The people want their parent out. They want their loved one out. They want their relative out. She's blind. She underwent dialysis quite recently and needs to eat. And so the folks tell us, they say they're very, very concerned. They're very, very concerned about the health and safety of their relative. And so the authorities, I know all of them right now. Everybody in government, the COVID people, everybody watching us. Listen to the folks. They want something. We need an investigation, folks. Come on. That is what is sad. That is what is sad. Y'all know what else is sad in this country? You know what else is sad? Look what happened at Cummins Lodge. Corporal punishment. A student is being benched at Cummins Lodge Secondary School. But I spoke with some officials at the ministry and they tell us the policy is only the HM and deputy HM has the authority to apply corporal punishment. They went on to say, if they cannot do it, they can delegate another member of staff. But we are being made to understand this is not what is transpiring here. We are being made to understand, folks, this is not what is transpiring. What is happening at our schools in this country under this installed regime every day? If it's not Christchurch, it's Covent Garden. Now it's Cummins Lodge, and it's always something negative. It is never anything positive and wholesome. Who watching us tonight? Who's sharing the live stream? This is what is happening in our school system. Priya, I hope you're taking notes. Onij, if you watch it, because I know you watch a lot, this is the Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce. She says she watches our program all the time. Onij, you might want to call Priya and let her know something is up at Cummins Lodge. And you guys need to take a look at it. Install, albeit they are. Take a look at this. People are sending their kids into your care. And there's a certain standard of care. And Roysdale can tell us about that. When it comes, you have to look after people's children. Listen to me. Folks, my children do something. You don't call me. We can get it up. We can get wrong. We can get wrong. This madness at Cummins Lodge, we got to look at that, folks. We have to look at that. I think we had banned corporal punishment at one point. Now I'm hearing there's a policy in the HM and deputy HM can administer the whip or whatever it is. Right? But they can delegate. But apparently some of the information we're getting coming out of Cummins Lodge suggests that this was not the case. That this was not the case at all. Moving on in the fight card, folks. Live from Lusignan. We told y'all, we bringing the information from Lusignan prison live. Them boys has got stereo set. There's got money. There's got drugs, there's got phone, all kinds of things. We told you guys one of them left recently, and we tell you that they don't leave for long. They don't leave for long. Just pay a little money. We were made to understand it is alleged. Just go home, see the family, visit the girlfriend, carry chocolate, carry ice cream. Y'all see how Valentine coming up here? More of them might be leaving. So we told y'all one of them left recently. Kevin Singh, we were made to understand that he come back. He come back. He went to the market, probably watched them vegetable price and so on. He said, shucks, my things tighter out here. I had him back in. So Kevin Singh has gone back. He said, I come back. So he has gone back. The authorities told us that he came back. You know, you don't escape. You leave. Right? If you stand up in a yard and you see the whole gate open, right? No, nobody's keeping you. You can walk in and out freely. So Kevin Singh left yesterday and he has gone back now. That being said, folks, that's what's happening. That is what is happening at that in live from Lusignan. Look what else is on the fight card tonight. Photo of the day, folks. Photo of the day. Photo of the day. And this is one of our favorite parts of the show. What do we have tonight? Photo of the day. Photo of the day. You all remember we told us, yes, this is the photo of the day. I was getting beside myself. This is the photo of the day. This is the avenue in Hatfield Street, just off of that area that is dedicated to Walter Rodney. This is in front of the Guyana Cooperative Credit Union. Am I getting it right? I hope so. That is headed by, what's the fella's name? Mr. Ben, the one and only Mr. Ben. I'm happy if the producers help me out with his name is eluding me for some reason, but Mr. Ben nonetheless. And this is what the credit union is doing there. Oh my God, this is what civic responsibility and cooperative responsibility looks like. They have their establishment there in Hatfield Street, and they're taking care of the avenue. Wonderful. Respect and manners. Respect and manners, Mr. Ben. Respect and manners. I love this. The cooperative credit union, again, under Mr. Ben's leadership, has been undergoing transformation, lovely programs and packages they're offering to public servants who are part of the union. Folks, y'all better go down there and sign up. Look what else. They've given the whole building there a little makeover. Oh my God. Who had this building before? Who was the president of the credit union, the chairman of the board here? It seems as, you see, I told you guys on the podcast today in this morning show, leadership matters. Who lead matters. Mr. Ben gone in there, and all of a sudden, transformation taking place, new look for the building, new programs, and so on. They're running for their customers, and then we have the avenue, folks. Look at this avenue. Looks very nice. Respect and manners. Respect and manners to the team there. And again, a nice facelift for the building. Oh, my Lord. And then, moving on to the fight card, quickly, swiftly, Spotted. We told y'all we love this part of the program. Spotted. This is a section of the program when we see some folks with a little notoriety, name recognition, like Roysdale Forde, Senior Counsel, and Cathy Hughes, who are going to be coming up just shortly, folks. We tend to keep you guys updated on what they're doing. Spotted, but we told y'all, we there, drinking we water and minding we own business. And we see and we heard that the PPP got a new uniform. It's a pinstripe. A new uniform, and everybody's complying, because you all know once Papa Jagabat said this is it, everybody falls in line. It's the pinstripe. That is the new uniform in the PPP. And we told you all quite recently, we spotted Anil in the pinstripe, complying with rules. That is nice. And then we spotted Joe Hamilton in the pinstripe. And after that, we spotted who else? We spotted one Edgel, the Fisher Bishop, in the pinstripe as well. What happened after that? Today, folks, spotted another compliant member of the PPP. Oh, he lash out in his stripes here, man. Darimlal himself, lash out in his stripes. Well, folks, if you are following Darimlal's presentation, I hope you all were distracted by his jacket. The folks told me what color is this jacket, but I can't remember that now. You all know men don't know colors and all that. I'm going to endorse that. He lashed out in this jacket today, pinch. I hope the jacket distracted y'all from the presentation, because the presentation, folks, was bare madness. Moving on to the fight card. Who wore it better? Some folks said that Darimlal was copying his outfit and his color from Member of Parliament Viceroy Jordan, who wore a similar jacket later on in the week. Once Viceroy Jordan don't wear pinstripe, I go to go. He might wear the same color, I go to go. But who wore it best? Is it Darimlal or is it Viceroy Jordan? Darimlal came second, so I guess he was following our colleague Viceroy Jordan here with the color. Once Viceroy don't wear the uniform, the pinstripe, we good to go, folks. And that's some of the things happening on the fight card. Moving along quickly, swiftly, we told you all in 2022 is pace and power. Pace and power. Moving along the fight card, folks. Oh, the PPP, folks. The wicked, stink, and dirty. Wicked, stink, and dirty. Darimlal again, look what happened. We saw this on social media today. While Darimlal is giving his presentation in the National Assembly, this is journalist Kurt Campbell Luke on Facebook. He said, Nigel Darimlal, I promise I wasn't posting this year. This is session here. But there is you victory, blocking a young black entrepreneur from securing business with the regional administration. and then you run to the National Assembly to label me a crony when I have to do your government's bidding every single day. You make me sick. My God. Mouth open, story jump out. We're being made to understand that this here, folks, this here is in relation to a contract for Jonas Bridals. I hope I'm getting the information right, but I'm double backing there very quickly. Going to my notes, y'all don't carry me up a score step for every little thing. So I'm going to refer to an article in Kaichor News, which I'm being told this matter relates to. That's what I'm being told. The NDC there, or rather the RDC, did some work for a company that Kurt Campbell is associated with, and suddenly Damlal them want investigation. According to Kaichor News, an investigation is set to be launched, and this is late last year. An investigation is set to be launched into the Region 4 Regional Democratic Council after it was disclosed that recently appointed Chair Daniel Siram approved more than a $2 million invoice for a scheduled leadership conference at the Bladen Hall Secondary School. The company that apparently did some work was Jonas Bridal House Event Planning Services. Again, I am being made to understand and informed by this article here that Kurt Campbell is part of that enterprise, and so there's been a running battle between the Minister of Local Government, the installed Nigel Damla, and Jonas Bridal concerning the work that they did and the payment that they should have received. And so Kurt Campbell was out there calling out the installed Minister of Local Government and Regional Development there. He says, you're blocking a young black entrepreneur from securing business with the regional administration. Folks, who's sharing the live stream tonight? You see, people can talk the talk, but when it comes to walking the walk and applying what they come and talk in the National Assembly about, these lofty things, is another story. They walk the walk, folks, but they can't talk the talk. They talk the talk, rather, but they cannot walk the walk. Moving on to the fight card, respect and manners. You want to strap yourselves in now. Respect and manners. Me care what y'all say. I said first, respect and manners. Look what's happening here, folks. Look what is happening here. Annette Ferguson is the real MVP. I want to tell Roysdale something. I want to tell Cathy something. You might think you're big, but unless people are singing about you, you're big yet. Respect and manners to Annette Ferguson. Folks, a song was dropped recently about Annette Ferguson. Folks, strap yourselves in. Strap yourselves in. Cathy, Roysdale, viewers around the world, 4,000 other of you watching us this evening. Strap yourselves in and take a look at this, folks. Take a look at this. Immortalized in song, the one and only Annette Ferguson. Folks, we'd have it no other way. No other way. Take a listen. Take a look.
Bim bam 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 boy. Hey. Dine dine day 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 do. It was sometime in December 2021. The house was in session and we saw another dimension. All the pulling and the tugging and the shouting and the blowing of them whistle was a sight to see as it unfolded in front of me. There was some rumors swirling about town, country and all about. And then I get a note and it's gone and trained with Usain Bolt. And let me tell you flat, I had me doubt about that. But when I see how she grab it, I did believe it. When the government side presenting, they say no, Annette no. When the opposition protesting, they say go, Annette go. And the government them insisting, they say no, Annette no. But the opposition persisting, they say go, Annette go. Annette run with the mace. Annette run with the mace. Annette run with the mace. Bashment inside the place. Annette run with the mace. Annette run with the mace. I was left dumbfounded when I see how Annette run. Next day all over newspapers, see the girl on the front page. Fergie turn a big star. They say she break the sprint record. All the comments and the fussing and the fighting, some people for and some against. Hear me when I say the house was in total disarray. When Annette grabbed the mace, men like rooster in the place. They chasing Fergie down. A man grabbed the mace and lie down on the ground. He wrap it with the leg and say he rather dead. And in perfect timing, he started whining. In the air was so much tension. No, Annette, no. Annette is an internet sensation. Go, Annette, go. They said the bill passed, no mind the confusion. No, Annette, no. Swear it's no exaggeration. Go, Annette, go. Annette, run with the mace. Annette, run with the mace. Annette, run with the mace. Bacchanal inside the place. Annette, run with the mace. Annette, run with the mace. Joe was out of tongue. He couldn't see when Annette run. Behave so. We have all right to protest. Nobody can tell we no. Some people think this should be consultation, but the other side say we know what's best for the nation. Bear confusion in the place. If you see how they circle in the maze, the finance money presenting, but no one in listening. Loud clapping and so much in, while some people just waving. Every memo on the floor, them ain't seated no more. Enough supporters disappointed. No, Annette, no. But plenty of them supporting. Go, Annette, go. Stop you doing the wrong thing. No, Annette, no. Or standing up for something. Go, Annette, go. Annette, run with the mace. Annette, run with the mace. Annette, run with the mace. Rock out inside the place. Annette, run with the mace. Annette, run with the mace. Can't get this speaker tongue when he see how Annette run. Some say ridiculous. Some people say she's a hero. Let's erect for her a bus. I sitting in the front seat with my coke and popcorn watching. Having so much fun, pressing replay to see Annette run. Nobody know what they're doing. Running around like headless chicken. The world they're in the arena. Hollywood just come to Guyana. Then they find a replica of the maze. And the show went on, even though Annette grabbed the other one. We are one Guyana, so no, Annette, no. No retreat, no surrender. Go, Annette, go. You're such a great role model. So no, Annette, no. Stand up for all your principles. So go, Annette, go. Annette, run with the mace. Annette, run with the mace. Annette, run with the mace. Bring it inside the place. Annette, run with the mace. Annette, run with the mace. Humpty Dumpty fall down when he see how Annette run. The government say no, Annette. No, Annette. No, 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 Annette. Opposition say go, Annette. Go, 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 Annette.
Look what's happening, folks. Welcome back. Welcome back. Look what's happening at the Neighborhood Democratic Council. Look what's happening at the Neighborhood Democratic Council in region, I think this is region 2, is it? Matthews Ridge, Arakaka, Port Kaituma. Do I have my regions right? I hope so. Region 1, Region 1. You know, lots of stuff happening at this NDC here. We heard that the overseer has been terminated. 40 million missing. This NDC is managed by the PPP. 40 million missing. The overseer has been fired. You see, they do it quietly. They do it quietly. And they come in the National Assembly and say, we know what we're talking about, corruption and so on. Who put him back this 40 million? Who put him back this 40 million? Nice time. Nice time, folks. Moving along on the fight card. Oh, beat and teach. This is the segment where I get my guests on. Folks, beat and teach was what was the theme in today's parliamentary seating. Beat and teach is what we call it, folks. It's when your arguments are so strong, right? Your arguments are so strong, they're lacerating the opponent. Beat and teach, you're lacerating the opponent with your arguments. That's what's happening. That is what is happening. I told you guys that Cathy Hughes is a communication specialist. And she has been looking at how the government communication has been working and the people who are viewing them and all of that. And she had some suggestions for that. She had some suggestions for them, how they can bring up their viewership, folks, how they can improve their viewership. And as I invite Cathy on, I want to share her advice to the government with you. We gone big, people. We mightn't dance song, but we gone big. Take a listen.
That the poor vice president yesterday afternoon had to host a press conference. And what was he saying? Let me quote you. He says, unfortunately, what we had anticipated, which would have been a contest of ideas and vision, through all the rhetoric, this doesn't become very evident to the people what we're hoping to achieve. His own MPs in their budget speeches have not delivered the message. And poor Vice President had to host a press conference to rescue the message or the lack of messages. But I said sad, and I don't use my words just like that. And this is where the Honorable MP Yvonne Pearson is absolutely correct. The numbers don't lie. Check the NCN page on the live stream of this press conference, and there are only 109 people watching. And they're watching at 27 minutes, 27 minutes, 59 seconds into the conference. Now go to the Vice President's page, and thankfully he has only 870 people watching. Now I want to ask Sherrod, how you got more than 9,000 people watching in the first half hour after they arrested you?
Folks, we gone big. And then Roysdale Forde Senior Council was making a fantastic presentation, giving advice again to the regime, telling them of their shortcomings. And then there was the Attorney General, the installed Attorney General, heckling ferociously Roysdale Forde, heckling ferociously. As a matter of fact, the Attorney General looked across to the Senior Council and shouted, "Shut up! Shut up!" And then Roysdale Forde responding. This is what Roysdale say. You see, when you start fight and you can't finish it, it's something else. This is how Roysdale Forde Senior Council responded.
Mr. Speaker, I will shut my mouth if you will never ever ask me for my notes from law school again so that you could be educated today. You are ingrate. Mr. Speaker.
Folks, without any further ado, for the main event for this evening, beat and teach, I'm privileged to welcome Senior Counsel Roysdale Forde and Catherine Hughes, both members of Parliament. Cathy and Roysdale, welcome in the ring. Welcome in the ring. Good to have you both with us.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you,
Beat
Sharon.
and teach. Beat and teach. Cathy, ladies first, you made such a stirring presentation here. Again, in both cases, I'm not only pointing out the deficiencies of the administration, but also suggesting solution. But they don't listen, they don't hear. Cathy.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. Yes, today was an interesting day in Parliament, and both Roysdale and myself have had the honor of speaking today. And you're correct. I focused a lot on the challenges, the things that I didn't see in the budget that I thought could enhance telecommunications, education of our children, and some of the realities that we are facing in Guyana. So it was a good day. It was a good day.
And Roysdale, as I said, similarly articulating where the government should be heading, almost 2 years in office, but they seem to be distracted by a lot of peripheral issues. Roysdale.
Thank you very much, Sherrod. Sherrod, my presentation, apart from focusing on the failures and the incompetence of Anil Nandalal as the Attorney General Minister of Legal Affairs, I felt that his failure represented the government, and it was necessary for me to put it in a context of what is happening in terms of the Guyanese people as a whole, in terms of the fact that we're now spending the entire funds in the natural resource totaling $126 billion. And at the end of the day, the ordinary Guyanese people are not benefiting. Their lives are not increasing. The quality of life is not increasing. The salaries are not increasing. The only things that are increasing is hardship, cost of living, and the general state of affairs that continue to blight the Guyanese people. And the solution for it is the fact that we have to get this government out of power. We have to return the UPNU AFC into power if we really want to be objective and to be fair. And I believe the Guyanese people were able to pay attention to the opposition MPs' presentations, not just my presentation or Mrs. Hughes' presentation, but all the other 31 MPs from our side. And we were able to sit back and really do an analysis as to where we are and where we're going. And I believe that it was clearly put up. I believe that we won the debate conclusively. I believe the public understands. The public clearly understands that this government is heartless. They have no intentions of improving their lives.
Yep. And I think you're absolutely right, Roysdale and Cathy. I think more persons were in tune to this budget than I've ever saw in the recent past. Perhaps because it's the oil budget, and I think more so because they're so disappointed. And I've never seen the PPP try to really and truly put some sugar into this budget to try to sweeten it up. I see press conferences being held hurriedly, as Cathy pointed out in her presentation. I see, this happening and that happening. But the fact remains that this budget is a tremendous disappointment, and we've been articulating on our programs here. It's not only the opposition, the main opposition, the parliamentary opposition, who's saying this, but independent people in our country. Cathy.
Yeah, Sharad, a budget, especially of this magnitude, meaning that for the first time we actually have extra resources. So we have a wonderful opportunity to do something with the extra money that we didn't have before. And therefore, for us in the UPNU AFC, we felt very, very strongly that it needed to have a structure. It needed to have a policy framework within which we could see where the money was being put and how Guyanese would benefit. So we were very disappointed. In fact, all of the speeches and presentations from representatives of the government spent more than half the time with the usual cuss down. Who did this, who didn't do the usual cuss down that they bring to the UPNU AFC. And we felt that it was an insult, not so much to us, but to the people of Guyana who wanted substance. We and all the citizens want to know what is going to be done with the 607 million US dollars that the government hurriedly went to the parliament, use their one-seat majority to change and bring that new legislation. And they've now accessed that $607 million. And instead of being very specific as to what it's going to do, it's the usual waste of time talk. And so on our side, we were very pointed. We had lots of concerns. We had also lots of suggestions, because we also feel strongly that as an opposition, you will know that we won close to, and probably more, but declared 217,000 votes, which is close
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
50% of the voting population. So we feel very strongly, and I feel very strongly, that we have a right to be able to offer our suggestions. We are members of parliament representing a constituency and the people of Guyana. So I don't want to take up all the time, but certainly I think Roysdale may add to that.
Certainly, Sherrod. Sherrod, one of the problems with the budget, as you said, they try to sweeten it up, but they can't sweeten something that is sour from the inception. From the time it was conceived, it was a bad budget. It was a bad budget because philosophically, the government does not operate from a position or a place that the Guyanese people and improving their lives come first. You see, Sherrod, once you get that wrong, you will get everything else wrong. And whilst our party took the position that it must be conditioned, the spending of the money must be conditioned under the original provisions of the Natural Resource Fund Act, which requires that disbursements must be identified and the purpose of the money must be identified and its spending, they changed all of that. So even when you look at the budget as a whole, you couldn't come to the conclusion that there was anything in the budget for the ordinary Guyanese. And this money, the priority areas should have been, in my view, the National Insurance Scheme to improve benefits for the ordinary people and to put money into the pockets of the Guyanese people, especially at the time when we were experiencing runaway inflation, runaway cost of living, and those sort of issues to really lift the Guyanese people who have been from time to time, from generation to generation, hoping for a better day, hoping for a better life in a wealthier country. And the time has come now. And what do? Give them nothing. So in my budget presentation, Sherrod, I pointed out a couple of things. I pointed out first that the Guyana Trade Union Congress had asked the government to put aside $25 million for 70 villages, which would have been worked out to probably 1/3 of 1% of the budget, to be put into the communities for village renewal, employment, improvement of skills. And the government has failed to do that. So that is one area that you could see clearly the disposition and the orientation of the government is against the people from the villages, against the ordinary people, not to empower them. Now let's check to see, all right, the government might have decided that that was not a proper allocation of resources, but let us see what they would have put into the pockets of the Guyanese people. Sherrod, I'm going to run through this quickly now with you.
Go right ahead, Roysdale.
I went through this in my budget speech. In 2021, before the budget, according to the government's own information from the Guyana Labor Force Survey, which is issued by the Bureau of Statistics, the average public sector salary was $94,810. And after the 7% increase, it went up to $101,446. The net effect of it was a 5% increase for the Guyanese people, the Guyanese working people. So before the budget, the average disposable income, it may sound ridiculous, but this is what people live. And this government doesn't seem to appreciate the circumstances under which the Guyanese people live. After paying rent and buying food, all that is effectively left was $1,168. When you divide that into a family of four, Sherrod, it turns out to be $9.73 or $5 per day. A family of four is left to live on. So you're going to the Natural Resource Fund to take out every cent to drain it of $126.7 billion, 600 and something million Guyana dollars. Now let's see where this money is going, where it's going into the pockets of the Guyanese people, the ordinary Guyanese people, who it belongs to. After the tax exemption that they brought in place by this budget, raising it to $75,000, the average disposable income is now $90,000. $90,000, Sharon. And after you would have gone through the process of determining what is left for the average Guyanese family after the payment of all these sort of expenses, the house and whatever, is $2,617. It works
Wow.
out to $21 now and 29 cents, an increase of 10 Guyana dollars. So in this whole big massive budget of 550 something billion dollars, all a family of four is really getting in terms of a direct benefit from it would be 10 Guyana dollars. That is the increase. When you put that in a larger context, Sherrod, of the fact that there's been continuous discrimination in relation to the cash grant systems and the COVID grant and the flood grant, where large swaths of Guyanese people are being bypassed, can't access because they are not necessarily farmers. They are being left out of the movement of this potential wealthy country. So the only way in which a large section of the Guyanese people, for example, the public servants, could even benefit from this process would be through increased salaries. So all they're really getting, Sherrod, is $10, a $10 coin. And that is what this
Yeah.
government is so
Yeah.
proud about to come to this parliament to speak about. When Apnu FC would have been in government, they would tell the people in the hinterland regions that bitumen and road can't feed you.
Mm-hmm.
You
And now
can't eat
we
the
have
roads.
all
You
this,
can't eat
and
road.
road can't feed you. But now, as a result of their own bad economic policies, where people can't even buy bread, and they're living in a country that is potentially wealthy, you cannot even give them the resources that is necessary and
Correct.
available for them to improve their lives. So that is why this
Correct.
budget is a failure. That is why it is being rejected by every segment of the population, including their own people. Because cost of living is like COVID. It don't follow political parties.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, yep. And Royce, you made an important point there. Well, you made all the points you made are important, but I want to stick a pin to where you say even their own supporters, don't understand where they're going with this budget. And Cathy pointed it out that here you got government ministers driving around with big vehicles, nice AC office, enjoying a posh life. You have this biggest budget ever, and you could hardly find a minister who could stand in the National Assembly and articulate the policies of their ministries that are going to affect the lives of the citizens by this biggest budget ever. So much so that Jack Dew has to come and host a press conference and says that you guys aren't seeing the budget in the right light. And you got 33 MPs, of which he's one, in National Assembly. He has to hold a press conference on the sidelines of the sitting of the National Assembly to try to correct what they can do. 33 MPs being paid super salaries, being paid well, right? In addition to the kickbacks that they get, to do the people's business, but they have fallen short. Therefore, it's either they don't understand the budget themselves and have rejected it themselves, or they're just wasting time. Cathy and Roysdale.
Um, Sherrod, I think that maybe they say we care, but they just don't care. And I use the example of the challenge we have today with ensuring our young people are able to get an education and to be in school. And you will recall that I shared the example of actually working with 34 students, 34 children between the age of 5 and 10 who live in South Georgetown area, very depressed community. And from March 2020 to September 2021, Sherrod, they had not gone to any kind of formal education, formal schooling. And in fact, the reality is that if you go to a private school, if you have money, if you have a device, a tablet, a computer, if your parents or guardians are fortunate enough to be able to have internet at home to pay for internet package, then in today's Guyana, you will be able to learn. If you don't have access to the internet, if you go to one of the schools in Guyana, in Georgetown, whereby there are not enough facilities to help you, then you find yourself in a situation where those children are not learning. They don't have access to online learning because they don't have a tablet. They don't have a laptop computer. Worse yet, they don't have internet at home. Some don't even have a little space. And this is where I felt that something as important as education of our young children, especially those in primary school. Something as important that links into what they keep talking about, this local content, this content policy, the ability for Guyanese to be qualified and to be able to fit in to those vacancies that we think will come up and emerge as part of this oil and gas sector. To do that, we have to have an educated workforce. And this is why it is so important to ensure that our young children are going to be given the means and the support. And this budget with 607 million US dollars, I felt that they could have given by now, 2 years later, a tablet to every single school child.
They have allowed a crisis to go to waste.
Exactly. They talk about and they're promoting that they're given 11,000 laptops. But in another voice, they say that they got 200,000 young people, students. So how could 11,000 laptops be sufficient for, a demand that goes as high as 200,000?
Very
And that's where
well.
you get into the subjective allocation of some of these resources. Who
Like
are
like
the
like like much other stuff, as Roysdale said, the
like
cash grant, the
everything
flood
else,
grant,
like
the everything.
like everything else that we know and we've seen over the last 2 years, to know that this is how they operate. So only certain people can get, only friends and family can get, and that is why this budget is so disappointing. The other
Messed up.
point, the other point I made, Sherrod, is that we had put into operation in 2015 an e-government network. And
Yep,
really what it
yep.
is, yeah, what it is it's a fiber optic network. And on that network, that is how we were able to provide free internet to the community ICT hubs, over 173 of those, to schools, to government ministries, to agencies. And we had a plan that we would have expanded that e-government network. And when COVID emerged, I felt, well, great. We started and we have some infrastructure in place. And it was my hope, my expectation, many people's expectation, that they would expand that network. Now, why would expanding that network help Guyanese and students in particular? Because then you would be able, for example, to have little portable internet devices that you could give to children in certain depressed areas. And they would be able to now have their laptop, and they would have a little device that they would switch on when it's school time. And that device would be able to take them to the internet, take them to some of the online learning classes, take them to websites like Khan's Academy. The Minister of Education was talking about the Learning Channel and the expansions to the Learning Channel. Sherrod, we know that a child sitting in front of a TV with somebody teaching them maths, English, whatever it is a good thing. But it could never come up to scratch as being able to have the response, the interaction. And that's what online learning gives, that the teacher would be able to see the faces of the children. She would know by their reaction to repeat something, to
Yep.
be able to say, did you all understand? No, miss. Let me go over it, what that kind. So we cannot accept that the Learning Channel can do it. We have to try every possible avenue to make sure that we keep our children educated. And right now, Guyana is saying, if you don't have money, if you don't have an internet connection. If you come from a poor area or a school that has no facilities, we throw you away. You ain't gonna get an education. You ain't gonna know to learn to read and write.
Yep, yep. And just before we run out of time, it seems to me that another aspect of this discussion is the fact that Guyanese, each and every one of us, regardless of the party we represent or no party at all, we're about to be done a disservice because all of our lives are impacted by this budget. And we have this 40% bigger budget, biggest budget ever. But they seem to be, or they seem to have, last time I checked, less than the time we have to scrutinize this budget, to ask the important questions. Are people getting value for a dollar? And those kinds of qualitative questions to getting the best for Guyanese. They have less than the time for the scrutiny of the estimates. Where are we heading? And they talk about transparency, accountability, good governance. They talk the talk, but again, they can't walk the walk, it seems.
Yep.
Well,
That's
Sharon,
it.
I'd like to answer that question, but
Go right ahead, sir.
touch on something very important that Cathy mentioned. And it goes back, what she said goes back to where the government philosophically is at. Something very interesting I discovered while preparing my budget presentation. Jagdeo went to Ghana on the assumption or the presumption or the public statement that he went to understand how they operate as an oil producing nation. And that he figured out in Ghana, apparently, is what they're saying, how to change the natural resource fund. But he should have spent some time whilst in Ghana to figure out how you run an oil economy and how you empower people in an oil economy. And a comparison of the 2021 budget and the 2022 budget of Ghana, and you lay it alongside the 2021 and 2022 budget of Guyana, and you would wonder what is really happening.
Mm-hmm.
In Ghana, the thing that Cathy and Ms. Hughes is mentioning was executed. They provided children with laptops and a little Wi-Fi connection. You know what happened also? They removed tolls on roads for vehicular traffic and bridges. In Guyana, it's only for the sand trucks. They also ensured that the children receive meals during the entire COVID period because their parents are laid off at home. They can't work, they can't function. Where the children eating?
Yeah.
You see, once you don't
Correct.
a heart, Sharon, but you have billions of dollars, you will come up with schemes to ensure that your friends and your family benefit from them above the interests of the ordinary people. And that is what this budget is about. And that is why the Guyanese people could only really and truly benefit a $10 coin out of it.
Yep.
You
Yep.
can't bring a budget like this, a heartless document like this, and ask us in the opposition to support it when there's nothing in it, absolutely nothing in it, that will see the immediate improvement in the quality of life of the ordinary people of this country. Zero. So I know that our presentations were hard hitting, but the point Ms. Hughes has made today that I would like to touch on today is that she pointed out clearly, and she's doing it again in a very remarkable way. But I just want to use the words that she used. This is the beginning, Sherrod, of an apartheid education system. And once your education system is so disrupted, so incapable of providing people with a meaningful opportunity to improve themselves and using education as a means of lifting themselves, you will eventually result in a very divided society. So the seeds are being sowed today for a Guyana tomorrow that we will not want to live in. So when they installed the Attorney General in his last minute of his tirade in his presentation, he's saying that
I was coming there.
is laying the foundation for a great Guyana tomorrow. You know that something mentally is wrong with these people.
Yeah. And you know what? Cathy and Roysdale, something else the Attorney General said struck me deeply, and it says to me what their worldview is on education. right? In trying to respond to you, and I see it was repeated by, I think, says Gunraj on social media, Queen's College children would never borrow notes from St. Rose's children. You understand what that means?
Yeah.
You understand what that means? We're talking about an apartheid education system. Why? If the education we're providing to students are of a certain caliber, and there's a level playing field in the education system, why would Queen's College children never borrow notes from St. Rose's children? What are you saying to the young people of this country? And we want to know about who's divisive. We want to know about who is
But, but,
divisive in this country. And the Attorney
but,
General
but,
could
but,
stand and declare that.
Yep. Yep.
Sherrod, um, Mr. Nandalal's response shows that it was a complete asinine statement, right? But he must understand that every time he opens his mouth,
Yep.
he's exploring new pathways for the Guyanese people to understand who he is as a person and what his government represents.
Yes. Yes.
Meaning
Yes.
some stupidness has come out.
That's only can be articulated by you, Cathy. Unfortunately, we're out of
But you
time.
know, Sharon,
Go ahead, Cathy.
just one thing. You touched on an important point that I think we need to highlight. And that is the fact that they deliberately want next week to reduce the time
Yes.
that we have to scrutinize the figures. So the public needs to know that, we go through all the line items in the budget. It gives the opposition an opportunity, if they see something is going to be $4 million, to ask, okay, what is this $4 million for? How is it going to be used? To really check and ensure that we are going to be able to see that the money is put to the correct use.
Yeah.
And Sharad, that is a very detailed process. We go through all the ministries, all the constitutional agencies. We go through all the regional budgets. And imagine, this thing usually takes the entire 5 days. And now the PPP is pushing it into 4 days. And what is
Wow.
most upsetting when you think about it, imagine something like GCOM that has a budget. And we know we've had challenges with the operations of GCOM. So we want to see exactly what GCOM is going to be doing with their money. GCOM we have been given 10 minutes. 10 minutes to scrutinize all the line items and the millions of dollars that GCOM is going to be getting. And to me, that just confirms that the PPP, although they talk about transparency and accountability, they don't want you to be able to go into the real nitty-gritty, to be able to follow
I
what
wonder why. One was hiding there. I wonder why.
And
Wonder
Sharon,
why.
it just fits into what they did with the National Resource Fund,
Yep.
right? Because you had a team of 20 people, all across section of Guyanese, from the media to teachers to NGO to religious leaders to politicians, everybody having a role to play in how those funds were going to be used. And they change it now to a committee of, I think it's 9 people, and the
Yep.
president can select those 9
Yep.
people.
Well,
So
not just one, really.
yeah, exactly. So, I just feel very strongly about the lack of opportunity.
And it should concern every
for us.
Guyanese, Cathy.
It must. It must. And I'm really asking Guyanese to raise their voice. This weekend, you get on social media, you write some notes, you write a letter, share on your page
Yeah.
that this is totally
Yep.
unacceptable. We must be able to scrutinize our taxpayers' money because we want a guarantee
Yep.
it is going to be
Endorse.
put to use. You know?
Endorse. Endorse.
Yep.
Endorse. Endorse.
But
Roysdale?
Sherrod, I agree. I agree. But this is the end. This is the end of the process. After this is spending. So what they really want to do, as Ms. Hughes says, Cathy said, is to ensure that we don't get a chance to dissect and go into the proposals and the spendings.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Sherrod, I want to create a line that will lead us to the point where we really see that what they're against is transparency. So we're at the stage now where we have to question them. about what is in the budget and the actual spending. So they reduce the time. But sure, let's go to the period before the budget is laid in the National Assembly. And what you see, Jared, is the failure of consultation, the failure to have transparency, the failure
wicked
to include civil society and all the Guyanese people in determining what this money is to be spent for. And then recognizing at the same time, Sherrod, that the plan is to use the $126 billion in the Natural Resource Fund to form a critical part of this budget. They rush it through the National Assembly with no consultation. No consultations with the union and civil society to determine what these monies need to be spent on. So the only opportunity that they want to afford the nation is a debate in the National Assembly. Of course, they're not prepared properly for debate, but all they're interested in is putting their hands on the money and spending the money. So the Guyanese really have to stand up at this point, Cheryl.
Indeed. Without question, folks, we got to stand up. Roysdale Forde, Senior Council Member of Parliament and the Shadow Minister of Legal Affairs. And we have also Catherine Hughes, the Member of Parliament as well, former Minister of Telecommunications. Cathy, you've done a fantastic job and they're trying to follow you and they can't. Thanks for being part of our program this evening and sharing your many insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's our program, guys. That's our program this evening. That's our program. Good to have you. And folks, this is why we say, come on board and partner with us and help our programs to move forward. Pace and power. We're committed to getting the information to you. Committed to getting the information for you guys. So take the opportunity. Come on board, those of you who haven't already. And thanks to those of you who have come on board and partner with us. Folks, we got several platforms available. We got the Cash App, we got PayPal, we got Zelle, we got MMG, we got Western Union, we got MoneyGram, folks. Find a way to come on board and to partner with us. You need some guidance? Message us, 627-6963. 627-6963. Good to see each and every one of you. I want to say a big shout out to a couple of folks very, very quickly before I get into trouble. And I want to correct two quick things. It was not the director of sports in the referral to the member there who would have had the big parties by his house and really exposed me to COVID-19, but it was the National Sports Commission chairman, the chairman of the National Sports Commission. Apologies there. And also, I want to recognize the person who wrote that wonderful song, "On It Run with the Mace." I want to recognize that person as, let me see if we have the name right, as Mark Ferdinand. Shout out to Mark Ferdinand. Respect and manners to Mark Ferdinand out there for writing this song. Respect to Mark Ferdinand. Respect and manners. Run with the Mace by Mark Ferdinand. And I want to big up as well Yonet Wade Edwards. Respect and manners, Yonet. A very good night to you. A very good night to each and every one of you. I see Roxanne Odessa, Jacobs is still here, Marilyn, and Kurt Roberts. I see Sheena, Hazel, and all the other beautiful, fantastic folks. Good to see each and every one of you. Folks, as we go. Stay safe. See you tomorrow back here at 12 for the podcast. See you back here at 12, guys, for the podcast. See you back here at 12 for the podcast. Have a good evening.
Bim bam 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 boy. Hey. Ding 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 no. It was sometime in December 2021. The house was in session and we saw another dimension. All the pulling and the tugging and the shouting and the blowing of them whistle was a sight to see as it unfolded in front of me. There was some rumors swirling about town, country and all about. And then I get a note and it's gone and train with Usain Bolt. And let me tell you flat, I had me doubt about that. But when I see how she grab it, I did believe it. When the government side presenting, they say no, and it no. When the opposition protesting, they say go, and it go. And the government them insisting, they say no, and it no. But opposition persisting. They say go, Annette run with the mace. Annette run with the mace. Annette run with the mace. Bashment inside the place. Annette run with the mace. Annette run with the mace. I was left dumbfounded when I see how Annette run. Next day all over newspapers, see the girl from the front page. Fergie turn a big star. They say she break the sprint record. All the comments and the fussing and the fighting, some people for and some against. Hear me when I say the house was in total disarray. When Annette grabbed the mace, men like rooster in the place. They chasing Fergie down. A man grabbed the mace and lie down on the ground. Wrap it with the leg and say he rather dead. And in perfect timing he started whining. In the air was so much tension. No, Annette, no. Annette is an internet sensation. Go, Annette, go. They said the bill passed, no mind the confusion. No, Annette, no. Swear it, no exaggeration. Go, Annette, go. Annette run with the mace. Annette run with the mace.